That's how great of a teacher that we have in our midst.
Yes, sir.
So if I don't have your answer, I'll tell you I don't know. And I'll try to get that question to him. And God willing, your answer shall be forthcoming. All right? Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is the secret to a lasting, successful relationship? Parentheses, I'm already married. Well, make your word, no. That's part of it, though. Make your word bond. I got one more on there, too. I just keep it. I wish I had a little thing. You know what? Let's do this. This is going to be my bootleg table. Yes, sir. Is that all right with y'all? Can I turn my table around?
Yes, sir.
Y'all ain't mad at me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, in the Holy Quran, there's a verse that has to be read in order for any wedding to be an official Muslim wedding. And that verse is Surah 4, verse 1. In Surah 4, verse 1, it says, keep your duty to Allah, by whom you demand of one another your rights. Then it repeats it. And keep your duty to Allah, by whom you demand or keep your ties of relationship. Now, what you notice in this verse is that there's nothing in the verse on what a man does for a woman or what a woman does for a man. The verse is talking about what the husband and the wife do to please Allah. And it says, keep your duty to Allah, by whom you demand the ties of relationship. Well, another word for tie is glue. Glue is a bonding agent. When you have adhesive, the maker of an adhesive makes a bonding agent based upon the nature of what it plans on holding together. So you can't use the same bonding agent that keep metal together on plastic. Because to keep metal together, the process of keeping it together is called welding, which is the application of heat and solder. You put heat and solder on paper or on plastic, you're going to catch it on fire.
That's right.
When you go to the store, if you're buying wood glue, you can't use wood glue if you want to keep fiberglass together. Based upon the nature of the wood, the plastic, the nature of the metal, the nature of the things you're trying to hold together, there has to be a bonding agent that takes that into consideration. Well, what Allah is saying to us is that the bonding agent that keeps a man and a woman together is not how good that woman's massages are or her meals are, or not how much money that man makes, but how much the two strive to please Allah.
Yes,
That's the adhesive that keeps you together. So number one, how do you make a long-lasting, successful relationship? Number one, live a life to please Allah, who's called Al-Ali, the Most High God. When I was coming up, whenever I was learning how to set goals, my mother used to say to me that if you shoot for the stars, you always at least make it past the moon. We, husbands and wives, are not the Most High. Allah is the Most High.
Yes,
so if our goal is to please the greatest object in the universe, surely we'll satisfy one another.
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, in 2012, there was a episode on the Today Show where they went around the world interviewing couples that were happily married for 60 plus years. I didn't say just legally married. Because y'all know we got some of them in our family.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh Lord, this is on Instagram Live. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Go ahead, brother. Go
My
ahead, brother.
grandmother and grandfather on both sides don't even live in the same house with each other. Well, one of my grandfather and grandmother, they're not together. But my grandmother lives in one house And then there's a driveway, and then my grandfather lived on the other side. I'm just going to leave it alone because I'm online. I'm in trouble. But 60 plus years happily married, and when they interviewed them, they found what they were looking for. They called it the longevity ingredient. And the longevity ingredient that was universal among all couples that were happily married for 60 plus years is that those couples were friends with one another. So friendship is the longevity ingredient.
Teach,
See, when
brother.
you are the friend, or let me say it like this, when your wife is your best friend, or your husband is your best friend, that means you don't just love them, you like them. Some people love each other but don't necessarily like
each other. Go ahead, brother Minister.
When you like each other, when you want to be around them, you have fun with them.
That's right.
So if you want to keep your relationship lasting long, number one, live a life striving to please Allah, the Most High God. Number two, stay friends with one another. And work on becoming best friends of one another. Like each other, not just love each other. That make sense?
Yes, sir.
How to have a happy family, happy and respectful children. Well, good luck. You let me know when you figure that out. No, I can't prove it. I can't prove it, but my non-scientific observation. And tell me raise your hand if you have children. Raise your hand, keep your hand up if you have any children that ever went through teenage years or are in teenage years. Now tell me if my non-scientific analysis is accurate. You put your hand down. It seems like that whenever your children get to a certain age, there is a firewall erected in their brain that blocks everything that you have to say now or ever said back then.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother Minister.
Is anybody else noticing this?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes they in their mind, what's happening is see, they're in transition. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said the most difficult time in any time in life is whenever you're in transition. Going from a girl to a woman or a boy to a man is a serious transition.
Teach, brother. Go ahead.
Because what's happening to the male is that the system is being flooded with testosterone, and the female is being flooded with estrogen. And since thoughts are electrochemical energy, which means they are fast-moving fluid with electrical charge and information inside of them. Whenever the electrochemical energy of thought is mixed with the chemical called testosterone or estrogen, it begins to change the way the thought process works.
Yes.
So they are saying and doing different things that they think is coming from themselves, and they really are speaking from the flood of testosterone as a male or estrogen as a female. It's a little longer explanation than that. But the point is, our ancestors who built Timbuktu,
go ahead, brother. Teach.
our ancestors who are the fathers and mothers of the Nile Valley civilization.
Yes, sir. Teach, brother. Go ahead.
We are the ones that built the pyramids. We are the ones that erected the city of Atlantis.
Go ahead, brother.
Our ancestors offered science and civilization to the whole world.
Hotep.
And one of the axioms or the laws that governed us is that we had a saying, Hillary Clinton didn't invent it. It takes a village to raise a child.
Teach, brother.
Hillary Clinton stole that.
That's right, brother.
From an African proverb.
Go ahead.
Why did we use the language, it takes a village to raise a child? Why not a good mother and a good father? Why do you need the whole village? It's because at some point in life, whenever a boy is trying to be a man, girl trying to be a woman, the watchword is, I want to be independent. Who has been their primary source, feeding them, telling them what to do, what to eat, what to wear? It's been mama and daddy. So in the mind of trying to become independent, they began to forsake some of what mama and daddy said.
Teach, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Most of what you said, they should keep. And they will come back to it eventually. there's going to be an aha moment in their life when they got to pay them own bills.
Go ahead.
When their car break down, they don't know what the hell to do.
Go ahead, brother.
They going to remember what mom and daddy said.
Yes, sir.
If it's not true, then why does the scripture say train up a child in the way they and when they grow what? Grow what? Old. They will not depart from you. The original Sanskrit does not say grow old. It says and when they mature. So it's a certain type of maturity that has to come together with their mind in order for them to grasp what you was trying to teach them before.
Teach, brother, minister. Go ahead, brother.
The reason it takes a village to raise a child is because sometimes an uncle can get a message to a son better than a father.
That's right.
And sometimes an auntie can get a message to your daughter better than you can as their mother.
Yes, sir.
Am I telling the truth?
Yes, sir.
I learned it firsthand. I remember one time I was at the mosque and I was coming through the lobby and my son was on the other side of the wall and he was in a conversation with one of the brothers. One of the brothers, if he's one of my brothers, that means he's what? My sons? See, that's the village concept. See, if we are all brothers and sisters of one another, then if I'm your brother and you're my sister, my son is your nephew, your daughter is my niece. So I don't go and talk about you behind your back and talk about what your children posted and what your daughter had on. No, that's my niece. That's my nephew that I smelled that weed on. I ain't gonna go tell everybody that so-and-so's son is out there getting blasted. I'm going to tell him, look, man, stop getting blasted.
Right.
But my son was around the corner talking to one of the brothers. And the brother was telling him, my son, the same stuff I've been saying to him.
Right.
And to be honest, I was saying it better than he was saying it. But lo and behold, I'm listening to my son on the other side of the wall. He's like, that's deep. I never looked at it like that. My first thought was, man, who this, man, you? I started coming around, and then I stopped. I said, you know what? You can get a lot done when you don't care who gets the credit.
Right.
Good point.
That's right.
See, it's vanity for me to want my child to be what they're supposed to be only if they're listening to me.
Go ahead, big brother. Go ahead. Teach,
But
teach.
if I'm sincere, my goal is I want my son to be the best soldier he can be.
That's right.
If it means he got to get it from an uncle, then so be it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the way that we can make a happy, respectful children and a happy family is going to take more than a good mother and a good father. It's going to take the aunties and the uncles.
Yes, sir.
We got to have all hands on deck.
Teach, teach.
Making sure that our nieces and our nephews and our sons and our daughters are all treated by us like family.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
That's right.
That was all right. What's the main thing a man should know about his woman? It's a good question. I would say that you want to know that a woman loves Allah, God, more than anything else on earth.
That's right.
You don't want to be in a relationship with a woman where you are her God.
Teach,
Sisters, you
teach.
don't want to be in a relationship and make that man your God.
That's right. That's not happening.
'Cause I got breaking news for you, sister. Your God gonna let you down.
Go ahead, brother.
But the God never will.
Teach, teach, teach.
So the number one thing you want to know is that you've got someone that has principles and virtue and morals and does what she's doing to please Allah, not because of you. You want to know that if, as a man, if I die on the battlefield and I'm gone, I want to know that I've left my children with somebody that's going to keep them plugged in to the God I believe in and the cause I gave my life for. And that you want to make sure that they know that their father gave his life for a cause, so you owe your life to that same cause.
Go ahead, brother. Teach, 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 teach. Yes, sir. Teach. Go ahead,
I would
black.
suggest this too. As a a man and a woman. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us a formula on how you can determine whether someone is compatible for you or not. As a man, before you ever get married, let's rewind it. As a man, before you ever court any woman, you should have already made a list of what an ideal woman looks like to you.
Teach. Go ahead, brother.
As a woman, you should have already made a list of what an ideal man looks like to you. And whenever you're courting someone, interviewing them, you don't tell, the last thing you want, don't you dare tell them. Well, let me tell you, sister, this is what I'm looking for. Because she going to be all that until. And the same with the brother. But you got to keep your list in your mind. And as you're going through the courtship process, as you're having dinner, engaged in conversation, you're constantly, oh, yep, he's a patient man. Oh, yeah, she's a disciplined sister. I see. Yeah, she's very clean. You keep, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that if you meet a man as a woman, and he's already 70% of what you're looking for in a man, you can marry him because you're compatible. Y'all can work on the other 30%.
That's right.
Same for you, sisters. If you got a man and he's already matching up to 70% of what you call an ideal man, you can marry him because y'all compatible. Y'all can work on the other 30%.
Go ahead.
The problem with us, most of us have settled.
Teach, brother.
You know what a settlement is, right?
Go ahead.
You ever been in a car accident? Somebody bumped into you and show up with the neck brace on. Little fender bender, you talking about, look, no, for pain and suffering, I want $3 million. I thought I was in good hands with Austin, right? I want $3 million. Then they send you back. Sir, all you did was jam your finger. I'll give you $1,500.
Go ahead, brother minister. Teach, brother.
When
Go
you
ahead.
write back and say, I'll take it, that's a settlement. That's right. In relationships, most of us marry someone that only is 30% what we're looking for, and we think we're going to be able to love them to get the other 70% out.
Go ahead, brother.
Sisters, let me tell you something. If you marry a man and he's only 30% of what you call an ideal man, and you think that you're going to be able to work on the other 70%, you have not found yourself a partner. You have married a project.
Teach, brother.
And
Teach.
you're supposed to get a project from aisle 9 and Target, and let your partner help you work on it. So compatibility means that you have to find that somebody already matches what you're looking for.
That's right.
In Surah 24, verse 32, there's a description that says, and marry those among you and those who are fit. Two different requirements. Marry those among you, meaning they should believe what you believe.
That's right.
Find somebody that has the same faith you have. And then marry those who are fit. In other words, what the God is saying, whenever you marry somebody, you want them to have your faith and be your flavor.
Go ahead, brother. Teach.
Go ahead, bro.
You're going to meet some women in the world that might be your flavor, but the question is, do they have your faith?
Good
And you might
question.
meet
Good
a
question.
man that might have your faith, but just because he's an FY don't mean that's sufficient to be y'all to stay together forever.
Right.
You want to make sure he got your faith and your flavor.
That's right.
So spiritual compatibility, you can find it in the 35th surah of the Holy Quran. I think around the 32nd verse, there are 10 traits that give you what spiritual compatibility looks like. And then those other characteristics that you're looking for in a man, pick them yourself. Sisters, brothers, pick the ones for yourself. Are y'all okay?
Yes, sir.
And I just want to put a disclaimer on it. Make sure that your spiritual traits are much more important than them physical traits.
That's right.
Did you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You don't say he's a liar and He's slick and he's lazy, but he's light skinned. Huh?
Go ahead, brother minister.
There's a scripture that tells you that there's a reward for those who keep their duty and a bald head.
That's right.
And surely there's a world. No, so physical traits don't make the relationship last long. Spiritual traits do, but you have the right to pick some of those spiritual traits. All right? Help us understand the negative results of having a mate who wants to compete with their mate. Well, I'm going to flip it a little bit. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, it is in the nature of a woman to want to equal herself up to her man. Did y'all hear that?
Yes, sir.
Now, the vying, the Quran says that we're supposed to compete. Right?
That's right.
It tells you what you should compete for and the spirit of how you should compete. It says, and vie with one another for the forgiveness of Allah. So we're supposed to be in competition with each other.
Righteous competition.
But it's righteous competition, and what makes it righteous is that I'm vying to be more forgiven by the God I believe in.
Yes, sir.
So I'm vying to become righteous. And then it says, and vie with one another in righteousness.
Teach, brother.
So the goal is I'm competing for the forgiveness of Allah, and the spirit I'm doing it in is in righteousness. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
One of the worst things that we could ever do is start competing with one another for the same objective that's outside of the forgiveness of Allah. See, how can I say this? Greatness doesn't come from being better than your fellow man. Greatness comes whenever you are better than your former self. The real competition that should go on is not competing with your peers, but competing with your own past. The nature, the innate purpose inside of man is to grow. So it's the nature of us to want to get better. So compete with your past, not your peers. Don't strive to be so much better than your fellow man. Strive to be better than your former self. And if you are in a relationship with a man or a woman, then you all are supposed to be teammates.
Teach, brother. Go
You'll
ahead.
have an opponent. You have goals and objectives, and you all are making your individual contribution to make sure that the goal and objective is complete. What would you look like being on a team and you're more concerned with your individual stats than the team actually winning? I seen a brother about 5 years ago that was playing for UCLA, and he was the star on the team, and they ran a play, and they were, you know how it is when you're in college, you win, you stay, you lose, you go home. They were on their way to the next round, and the brother was Shabazz. Shabazz, I think his name was Shabazz Muhammad. He was on the court. He was on the court, and because he was a star, I'm assuming that the play was for him. They got running the play, time was running out, he didn't get the ball, didn't get to take the shot, so his point guard got the ball, couldn't get the ball to him, took the shot, hit, and they won. The whole team was celebrating. But I looked over at Brother Shabazz, and he was over there like this, mad that he didn't get to individually. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So whenever you married, you all are teammates. Teamwork makes the
Dream work.
So be on teams with each other. Don't compete against each other. Are y'all okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Go ahead, brother minister. Take your
I'm gonna
time.
make these answers a little shorter this time. I'm gonna have to use my table over here, y'all. When married to an FOI and you're not an MGT, are you unevenly paired, or is it possible to be equally paired? Well, it is if you all are believers. There has to be the problem with being married to somebody that believes in something different than you is that whenever there's a dispute or disagreement, you all have two different sources that you lean on for a higher idea. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
See, if I'm a Muslim and I'm married to someone that's not a believer, and we're in an argument going back and forth, and I say, well, honey, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, so forth and so forth, and then she says to me, well, Elijah Muhammad ain't none of my messenger.
Go ahead, brother. Teach.
I don't know nothing about what no Muhammad said, but Joel Osteen told me.
Go ahead, brother minister.
Well, that'll be a hell of a comparison. Divorce. But, so, there has to be an agreement that you all are going to respect the word of Allah, and you have to agree that the word of Allah is not just limited to what came from the 24,000 prophets that have lived in the last 6,000 years, and the 130 or some odd prophets in the Bible, and the 80 prophets that's in the Quran. But you have to accept that there is a messenger of God on scene today.
Teach. Go ahead, brother.
The same way that God raised a messenger to guide a people yesterday, he raised the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and his twin, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to guide us today.
Teach. Go ahead, brother minister.
So you're
Teach.
not getting ready to tell me what Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John said, and then I tell you what Farrakhan said, and you don't accept it with the same respect.
Go ahead, brother minister. Teach.
I'm going to respect what you say from Matthew. You're going to have to respect what Muhammad said too. And if you have the same higher source, that you can rely on, then there's a possibility that you all will be okay. You all can still be believers and make it into a healthy relationship. How should you set boundaries in a marriage when it comes to outside relationships being co-parents? Well, it is very dangerous. I learned a long time ago that men and women cannot be friends with one another forever. When males and females are friends, it always leads to something else. So anytime you got a man and he's talking to other women and he's saying, these are just my friends, they might be now, but they won't be forever.
Teach, brother.
The male and the female, because all that's going to happen is they're going to say the wrong thing at the right time.
Go ahead, brother.
To the wrong person. That's right. And the next thing you know, they're going to be doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, at the wrong location. Okay, I'm leaving it alone.
Go ahead, brother minister. Keep it.
So
wake us up, brother.
As a couple, there shouldn't be interaction with the opposite sex, except brother to sister, sister to brother.
Yes, sir.
See, if you really are sincere, then you'll make sure every time you're talking to the opposite sex that you put brother and sister in front of their name every time you talk to them.
Good teaching. Good teaching.
Because what it does is it checks their thinking.
That's right.
Where they don't misplace your kindness or your smile or your compliment or your concern. I complimented a sister one time at the gym for her workout regimen. And after I complimented her, she smiled, blushed, and started looking me up and down. And I was like, I'm going to have to run. That was not what I meant. And I never did it again. Because we live in a world where we don't see nobody doing nothing without having some ulterior motive.
Teach. Go ahead, black man.
Everybody working an angle.
Go ahead, brother. Teach.
So if I'm complimenting you and you the opposite sex, it shouldn't go to your head where you think that means that I really want you. I meant what I said. So it's very dangerous to interact with the opposite sex. I would suggest don't do it. Don't do it. Let your wife represent you to other women. Let your husband represent you to other men, and keep the title brother and sister in front of the people's name when you talk to them, and then check their thinking.
That's
while
right.
you're communicating with them.
Yes,
So
sir.
those are the boundaries. Of course, when you're dealing with co-parenting, you have to communicate with the mother of your children. But I would suggest the same formula. Put brother on their name. Put sister on their name now. It reminds you and it reminds them that that's what we are. We're co-parents, we're not couples.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
The worst thing you ever can do as a man is tell another woman about your woman when you got a problem. And the worst thing you can do as a woman is tell another man about your man whenever you got a problem with them. Talk to them directly.
Teach.
What do you do in a marriage when your mate doesn't come to the mosque like you or strive to be a better Muslim like you, especially if you are a Muslim sister? Well, you have to, hopefully, they'll be able to come out of the season that they're in. They must be at a fall or winter in their faith. Your job is to represent sunshine, spring, and summer for Islam. You have to brag about the joy of Islam that you are getting. Show how much you are getting from being active in the mosque and let your example magnetize them back to what they say they believe in. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, if a person stays out too long, out does produce doubt. And doubt is the mother of hypocrisy. The longer we stay away, the farther we get away. And there will come a point, if we stay gone too long, that we will look back and want to go back to our own country. But we won't be able to swim 9,000 miles. So try your best to encourage them by your example. Showing them that I'm in the summer of my life. I'm in spring. Being active in the work of Allah. You too could come out of your fall in the winter if you come on back to doing what you should do. And be patient and encouraging in your example. And inshallah, he'll return back to the faith in the bright way he should. Help us understand the negative results of having a mate who wants to compare. Okay, people doesn't the same way. How does one relate to one that has a child or children that are mentally ill with illness of bipolar and or schizophrenia? Well, it's a very good question. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that the time we live in right now, there's more mental pressure on the minds of people than there ever has been. Listen to this, in the history of the world.
Wow.
So people are breaking under pressure. The white man gives all these labels to it. And the only reason he calls it bipolar, schizophrenia, all these labels is because a label means he can medicate.
Yes, sir.
And once he can give you a drug he knows when he gives you a drug for a condition, that drug goes into your brain and hijacks your brain's ability to produce its own drug that God put in your mind to regulate the problems that you're dealing with.
Right.
And at a certain point, the more you take a drug, your brain stops producing the drug. And the next thing you know, you are dependent on it. So mental illness, how can I say this? Black people are suffering from a depression that comes from oppression.
Go ahead, brother. Teach. Go
There
ahead.
ain't nothing really wrong with your son or daughter. It's the world that's wrong. You don't have problem children. Your children have a problem.
Teach. Go ahead,
And
brother
the
minister.
problem is we live in a world that is diametrically opposed to black people's rise.
Teach. Go ahead, brother
So
minister.
it's frustrating them, it's stressing them out. So what I would suggest is that as your child gets a little bit older, number one, even while they're young, feed them the best foods in accord with how to eat to live. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Keep installing in them truth that will make them think something powerful about themselves. Then, when they get a little bit older, and they are able to, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says in How to Eat to Live, Book 1, fasting is a greater cure.
Go ahead, brother.
Listen to this. For our physical and mental illnesses, then all of the pills of this world put into one bottle or a billion bottles.
Yes, sir.
We don't even realize that fasting is not medicine, but it is the activation system of the medicine you already have in your body. When we fast, we allow the body to begin to go to war with whatever's in the body that's causing us to be other than our own selves. So as the child gets older, teach them fasting. 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 7 days, 15 days, 20 days, 21 days, 30 days. Teach them to fast and watch them be able to cure themselves of that mental illness. What and how to keep love in your marriage?
Good question.
Well, whatever you did to get a thing, you gotta do to keep it. You cooked for him. Come on, sisters. You brought him food while he was at work. It was right too. Sure, when you was courting, you be talking to that man on the phone, and you be looking in the mirror to make sure you was cute while you were on the phone with the man. Before FaceTime.
Go ahead, brother minister. Teach.
And as a man, you were patient, bit your tongue, kind, courteous. You didn't care nothing about when y'all went out to eat. Order whatever you want. No, if you want appetizers, get it.
Go ahead, brother minister. Go ahead, brother minister.
Don't even worry. Give her the lemonade. You opened up the door every time. Now hold on, not just open the door to let them in, but you will get out the vehicle.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir.
And run to the other side to make sure you got them to let them out.
Teach.
But as soon as you got married, now you ain't getting no doors no more.
Go ahead,
You
brother.
playing. Oh. No. Avocado air rolls, how much are they? $11 for appetizer? She don't want that no. No, ain't no free refill. No, honey, don't get the raspberry lemonade free refill. Whatever you did to get a thing, you gotta do to keep it.
That's right, sir.
So that's the rule. Whatever you did to win. See, you have to all really. How can I say this? Okay, I'll put it like this. You have to practice courtship after marriage.
Right.
Sir.
Y'all hear the language? Because in courtship, you're trying to win somebody over. Right?
Yes, sir.
Courtship after marriage means you still trying to win them. That's right. And if you act like that, you won't have no problem keeping that love together. That's right. What is the best advice to stop getting mad at each other? Well, you know, the Holy Quran tells us that we should argue in the best of what?
Manners.
Do you know that the best way to argue is to not argue at all?
Yes, sir.
Married people should not argue.
Yes, sir.
You should have discussions.
Yes, sir.
There's a difference between an argument and a discussion.
Yes, sir.
An argument is when two people go back and forth for one another to find out who is right.
Yes, sir.
But a discussion is when you go back and forth in a respectful way to find out what is right.
Yes, sir.
Talk to each other to find out the what. And then you lower your wing if you're the male, lower your wing if you're the female, laugh, hug, make up.
Yes, sir.
One of the best ways to keep from arguing is to resolve problems before you go to bed at night. Right?
Go ahead, brother.
There's a verse in the Bible that says, let not the sun go down on your anger.
That's right.
Number one, you don't know whether tomorrow is promised or not.
That's right. Yes, sir.
How would you feel if someone that you're trying to teach a lesson to but you love didn't wake up in the morning?
Wow.
And when they did the diagnosis of why they dead, they say it was mental stress. They had a stroke while they were asleep. Something must have been really bothering them. And then you would have to say, I was the cause of this. Hey, how would you feel? So what happens to us is that I did another non-scientific survey, Brother Hodges. At the mosque, we have employees at the mosque. We have businesses there as well. But I can always tell when somebody's talking to their spouse. And I always make fun of them. So I always say, you talk to your husband? Yes, sir. Cold and short. You kind to strangers.
Yes, sir.
Courteous and respectful when you're talking to people that you don't even know.
Right.
Who said do unto others as you would have them do unto you is a golden rule that you're only supposed to use on strangers. Ain't no footnote under there. We're supposed to treat each other the way we want to be treated. That goes for husband to wife, wife to husband, father to children, mother to child, child to mother, child. It goes, it's universal.
Yes, sir.
But we treat strangers better than we treat one another. You don't wake up on 7 already. See, when you got unresolved issues, every morning you wake up, you're already on 7.
Go ahead.
All it takes is one little incident, and it's easy to go from 7 to 10.
Right.
And now you back arguing and cussing each other out again.
Go ahead.
But if you resolved it, you'd wake up on 1 or 0. And if something happened that was a 3 that produced a conflict, going from 0 to 3 ain't gonna hurt that much. It's just a discussion.
That's right.
So staying friendly with one another will keep that from happening. How do you maintain a healthy marriage when the man is never present? Well, there has to be time given, and what I would suggest to us as men, we will say to each other that it just ain't enough time in the day. That's why I can't do everything I need to do. There ain't enough time in the day. The real truth is there's not enough day in your time. We don't have a time problem. We got an energy problem. If you had more access to more energy, which means in order to have more energy, guess what you got to do? You got to be mentally healthy and physically healthy. And whenever you are not burdened with anxiety and grief and depression and stress and you're not frustrated, when you don't have that mental drain on you, you got energy available. And whenever you in good health, you got energy. So whenever a man is out doing whatever he has to do, and when he comes home, he don't have no energy to do nothing but sit down in front of there and exercise supreme authority with the remote control. What? And all we do is sit in our chair and flip channels till we fall asleep, eat, whatever. No, you gotta put some time in.
Yes, sir.
So I'm use myself as an example. I normally teach in 50, 60 cities a year. And in every city we go in, it's 3, 4, 5, 10 lectures at a time. Plus, I have a mosque at home. Plus, I have an online business that we do orders every single day. And you see I got books. Plus, I have 3 children. And I'm married.
Teach, brother.
And on top of all that, I'm poor. So you know when you're poor, you got to get creative.
Yes.
So I learned, and what I do, and my brother Lamar, he's with me everywhere I go. He'll see me sometime, and I'll be at the airport. We getting off the plane. I'm through. But I'll tell him, let me stop at the coffee spot real quick. And I'll be down there drinking a coffee while we in baggage claim. Just so when I show back up at home, what? I just got me 24 ounces of dew fluid.
Go ahead, brother minister.
I may not have no energy for real, but it feels like I do right now.
Go ahead, brother minister.
Now, I can't prove it, but I think they putting crack in Starbucks. I can't prove it. That's the only reason why everybody's addicted to it.
Teach,
But
brother.
I always sit and I always do something to get my energy level back up to make sure I got some energy for my family. And as a man, you've got to do the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Because if you got time and energy for everything else, what you're saying is that everything else is more important than my family. How important is it for the man to learn how to emotionally connect with his wife? Well, the Holy Quran says to the men in the 7th surah, it mentions that men are the maintainers of women. Do you know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that maintenance means upkeep? or to keep in the form you found it in? See, as a man, you should be studying your wife. And if your wife, when you married her, she was happy all the time, now she's sad all the time, something's going wrong. If when you married your wife, she took pride in her appearance, now she doesn't care how she looks no more, something's going wrong. That's a sign that the flower is not being properly watered. Are y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
So maintenance is not just financial.
That's right.
It's also physical. It's biological. It's mental. And it is emotional. You say, well, how do I emotionally maintain somebody? First phase of emotional maintenance is to be a good listener. That's right. Men work things out by thinking it through. Women work things out by speaking it through. So your nature as a man is you like sitting quiet, thinking it all the way out.
That's right.
Coming up with a solution so that you can execute, solve the problem, and keep your ego intact.
That's right.
But women communicate, they verbalize, they talk out. Okay, y'all still don't understand.
We get it.
Look at the story of Adam and Eve. Look at how the serpent or the devil got the woman and got the man. It was two different processes. The serpent spoke to the woman. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So the methodology that the serpent used to get the woman was by communication. Brothers, have you ever been in the mall walking and you see a real beautiful sister with a real ugly brother? You want to know what's going on? It's a strong possibility that he know how to listen and he know how to talk. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. But whenever Eve went to Adam, she showed him the fruit. So the man was captured by the eye and the woman was captured by her ear. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
So men can't handle. Okay, I'll leave it alone. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Get to the end. All right, yeah, we gotta wrap it up, y'all. Okay, I got two more questions. Then we gonna sign some books, and y'all come tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We're gonna have a good day tomorrow. That's right. We gotta make sure they don't go past the hour, because if it goes past the hour, they're gonna cut us off. So before you get to our stop, okay? All right. So emotional maintenance starts from listening as a man. Y'all got that, brothers?
Yes, sir.
You gotta listen. All right. What is black love? It's original love.
Plain and simple. Come on.
Because black is not a color.
That's right.
Black is the essence from which all color comes from.
Yes, sir.
So what is black love? It's the original love. Root love that started with God and his second self. Yes, sir. All right, last question. How do you set, I already got this one. Oh no, how do you set boundaries for your children's parent when you're married to someone else? Here we go again. Blended families. Kind of hard to blend steak and blueberries. Real difficult to blend a pork chop with some bananas. Sometimes those past relationships, we're dealing with stuff that's not compatible. So you only have to communicate with them in a strict way.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, the minister said he doesn't like the term stepfather or stepson or stepdaughter. He said because every time I hear somebody use the word step, it always has meant a step down. Right. We never refer to somebody as a stepdaughter or a stepson or a stepfather or stepmother if it's not a step down from the mother, father, son, and daughter. So a child by someone else that you have living with you, they're going to always have love and respect for their biological relatives. So the Quran advises us to operate kind of like a big brother, more so than the dictator as a father. So as a man in a home, when there's a child there that has a different father than you have to try the indirect approach and communicate through the biological mother to get your message to the child. Y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that child is going to figure out that you are doing it and that you're doing it out of respect for them? And at a certain point, you're going to be somewhere, and whenever they are in front of their friends, they're going to say, "This is my father." And at that point, you will know that you didn't demand respect, but you have commanded it by cooperating.
Right.
And now you have earned out of love from someone a title, not because you had a blood connection. Try it out, brothers and sisters.
Yes, sir.
So with all that said, we got to wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, sir.
So what do you want me to tell everybody? I'm going to go sit at the table. Well, we're going to bring it up front. We're going to get a bigger table?
We got enough tables.
Got enough room? So, sisters and brothers, we have the books. If you'd like to get a copy of it today, please do. We can take credit cards if you don't have cash.
Yes.